Good morning, everybody, for who is following us from Italy, and good afternoon for who is following us from Hong Kong. I'm Sara Bologna, and I'm very happy to welcome you to this master talk for the Italian Design Days with architect Marco Piva. A special greeting goes to Maria Cristina Didero, who should have been moderating this meeting, but unfortunately she had a personal problem, and she apologizes for not being here today with us. We send a special greeting to her, and we start this meeting by introducing Consul General Clemente Contestabile for an institutional greeting. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can see you and we can hear you.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Clemente Contestabile. I'm Consul General of Italy in Hong Kong. And I'm really glad to join this conversation on Italian design on the occasion of the Italian Design Day. Every year on this day, the Italian design speaks with the voice of its protagonists, architects, urban planners, and designers who are champion of Italian style in the world. And it's a great pleasure for me to have today with us Mr. Marco Piva as the Italian ambassador of style in Hong Kong. Mr. Piva is a leading figure in the panorama of contemporary architecture and design. His works in the field of architecture, industrial and interior design in Italy, China, Japan, Russia, and other countries earned him a lot of international prizes in Italy and around the world. He epitomized the ability of Italian designers to innovate with a strong focus on the quality of life and sustainability. And these are critical issues in the new era brought by the pandemic. I trust the audience, and especially students, will learn a lot from his presentation touching different critical issues, such as the relationship between design and materials, and the new challenges for the sustainable recovery of Made in Italy. The Italian Design Day is also an opportunity to boost the dialogue between Italian and local creative industries. In the panel discussion following Mr. Piva's talk, we will learn about the latest development of design made in Hong Kong, the platform for design exchanges between Italy and Hong Kong launched by the Italian Cultural Institute. Thanks to such program, works created by students of Hong Kong Design Institute, PolyU, and Dott.ssa will be exhibited at the Design Week in Milan from 4 to 9 September. For those who are not familiar with the Milan Design Week, this is the largest and most authoritative design fair in the world, a great opportunity to discover the latest contemporary design idea in the world capital of design. We know that it's not easy to travel next September, but I would like to invite you all to go to Milan and visit the next special edition of the Design Week. Now it's time to listen to one of the champions of the Italian design, Mr. Marco Piva. I wish to thank him and all our speakers today, and I trust you will have an inspiring and productive seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Consul. And thank you for introducing architect Marco Piva that I am now putting on screen. So, good morning. Marco Piva is founder of Marco Piva Studio, which is a design studio and architecture studio that plans everything from chopstick to town. That is also one of the main focuses of the presentation that we will have the pleasure to listen to. The themes that will be touched during this master talk will be very various, from urban planning, urban regeneration, which is a theme that is very slightly connected with the town of Hong Kong, and also the role of design and the challenges of design for the future. So thank you for being with us today. We're so very happy. And For the public that is following us from home, if you have any questions for architect Marco Piva, you can write it in the live chat. I will collect everything, all of your comments, all of your questions, and I will share them at the end of the master talk for a quick question and answer time with Marco Piva. So I leave it up to you now for your presentation, if you want to share your screen and start. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sara, and thank you for the invitation. Thank you to the Consul General for the fantastic introduction of my job. I would like to bring you through a quick journey about our experience of design. So design and materials is the main theme of today's discussion, and beauty by design is the title that since some years we are using in our design office to sign our activities. So searching the beauty is one of the goals of design according to our idea and our vision. We are located in Milano. Quick presentation. We are working around the world. This is me and my partners. The studio is working actually I would say around the world. We have some permanent offices, for instance, in China and Dubai, Middle East, Russia. And the experience is quite interesting because we are melting together all the knowledges that we achieve working in different countries, meeting different people. And in our office, I would like to say for the students that are following our presentation that we have 17 different nationalities in our design office in Milano and spread around in the world. And this is really beautiful because they are all young, coming from different universities. So we believe that our design office is a melting, let's say, little melting pot for design culture. We like to have an exciting approach to design, to be fluid in our proposal, functional as much as possible to answer to the request of the design goal required. We would like also to be emotional in our design approach and final products. Complexity is not a secondary point for us, because complexity means that you have to investigate a lot about a specific theme and put together many different kind of knowledge to create something that is new, that is hopefully beautiful, and mainly today we have to say sustainable. Philosophy and science are the two main elements of our activity. This is a picture, beautiful picture from famous painter Raffaello that illustrates the combination of different approach. The one is technology, so science painted in this fresco together with philosophy. So the two elements are giving the melting of technology and let's say human approach to the design process. So again, sustainability means to have this green touch, but the green touch means to use the proper material, proper proportion, invent new buildings. It's a building that I designed Osaka 7 years ago. Dynamical shapes to answer to different kind of requests based on the design inputs. Refined design, that means to take care of details using material that are specific. Emotional through light. The light is giving life to material, so it's not only the sunlight but the artificial light that is giving particular kind of interpretation to our architecture and interior design. Then the investigation about material is really important for me. And here you can see, later we will specify about the project, how we use the material to distort somehow the perception of it, to make a new experiment with materials that are like stone, that seems to be arrived, to the final possible use. Rhythm is something that is very important for us in the texture of material that we use to design a furniture piece, or even the rhythm that we want to give to an architecture that should be the living place for people, families. So we needed to think to architecture, interior, and design pieces in a continuity. Color is something that is following my design since the beginning. This is an exhibition that we did in Venice. So color is giving life, and nowadays we need, wherever it's possible, more color to make happier landscape in our design approach. Purity is another theme that for us is very important, how to solve a question of design, shape, functions, and use of material. So everything that is quality at the quality level of design lines, but also use of material is giving us this perception of a simple purity. Lightness is a combination of different elements. From one side, we are showing a couple of buildings that are under construction now in Chengdu in China, tall buildings, 180 meters high. On the other side, an experiment that we did using marble and playing with it, like it is made by paper sheets. Transparency is another element that we want to use in architecture, but also in product design. So transparency is giving relation between inside the building and outside the building, vision of the city, or transparency inside a private space or inside any interior design. These are the main area of activity: urban design, mixed-use building, residential complex. We are very deep into hospitality design process. We are working a lot on luxury homes, not because luxury is the main target, because through luxury we succeed to develop a very intensive and deep research on use of material that we can use on other projects that are not necessarily at the top level of quality in terms of let's say living space, but very interesting to be developed, you know, for maybe a residential that are more common for people, normal people. Heritage is a theme that, being in Italy and Europe, we follow a lot. We have several buildings that we renewed, we restore completely, and there in the time has been changed. For instance, like this one in hospitality structure. Industrial design is one of our main interest. The one that you see on the side, left side, has been shown at the last exhibition in Milano, and we got 4,500,000 like. Doesn't mean, I mean, it's just something to say that was really appreciated, because it's a very complex kind of exercise. Exhibition is really interesting for us. Now we are exhibiting in Venice for the Biennale of Architecture, and retail. We design a lot for companies involved in luxury exhibition, like Bulgari, for which we design several times windows and exhibitions. Urban design means to investigate about structure of the city. We did several projects around the world, like Porto Dubai, like South Indiana in China, where we tried to deliver a concept of dynamical areas, more concentrated on the quality of the space that we wanted to design, and with a strong expression. This is a Suzhou project where we were recalling the old big boats that were traveling around the seas, you know, designed at the time of a very famous emperor. So that our architecture is recalling this kind of artifacts. Diansha Lake is another project that we developed recently in China, and the idea was to reduce dramatically the volumes in favor of more green areas with a sustainable process all along the waterfront, you know, to bring a new life to the lake. And so the combination between human settlement and the original nature could be, let's say, played in a more advantageous way. Residential building for us is a very important theme. We are working on several kind of design approach, Milano or Japan. Here is working that we are developing now, has been very well appreciated. We won an award for sustainable architecture because we succeed to reduce the use of energy. We are going to design to build this building through a very intense process of energy saving, environment protection. This is a quality of architecture that we want to deliver, so something that is open, transparent, variable in different shapes and configuration, where the people they like to live, you know, it is there are a lot of green spaces around. and also the interior has been conceived in a way that the whole thing is fluid. So these are a picture of an interior. So we want to present architecture, even starting from the interior, before talking of the solid volume outside. So everywhere we try to put new terraces, a new relation between inside and outside the building for the pleasure of the people living in these environments. Private homes is a very interesting exercise because we have to deal with specific people and family. These are some of the projects that we are working on. Some are already done, you know, in Los Angeles, for instance, where we tried to deliver, as I said before, a sort of continuity between architecture and interior spaces. Light, as I said, is very important. This is a sunken, let's say, hidden spa inside one of those buildings with this beautiful game given by the light of the sun crossing the top windows. These are other projects. We are building up a couple of huge villas in Shanghai. And even here, as I said before, the relation between materials and light is strategic. And also the, how can I say, the definition of architecture that we like in this case is very mysterious and sometimes also very, very effective with the huge waterfront in front of our building. Water is another element that I like very much, and I like to use it everywhere it's possible. Hospitality, as I said before, is really strong activity for us. This is a sustainable hotel that we realized with for Hilton in Italy, where the use is just concentrate on material like wood and stone, so very simple material. This is another project that we did in Venice. It is a super huge glass roof. You can deck your boats, the boat under the roof, and you can join the buildings that are residential and hotel on the sides. Another combination of historical and new buildings, like this is in Milan. We won a lot of competition and awards here. Combination of all the new for us is a challenge every day. So we would like to achieve this. Let's say balance between the two, and this is the interior of this hotel that has been nominated several times as one of the excellence in hospitality design activity. So everywhere inside is a sort of a little magic, you know, to attract people. The use of material is very intense and detailed, and everywhere we try to, you know, to give emotion to our design. Here, for instance, is a bar, terrace bar, where we realize the bar counter with a huge fusion, let's say, melting process of aluminium that is giving the shape of stone. The interior of the hotel has been realized using different production sources, top level, to create a very unique space. As I said before, material are strategic to achieve the result that we want to achieve, and so the interior design is a process that is a sum of different elements, you know, that combines in one continuity perception. This is the project that is under construction now in Chengdu, 2 towers. It is very important because the name is Lamborghini Towers. That means that inside these buildings we are bringing the, let's say, the brand of Lamborghini, Torino Lamborghini, and so we have to focus on some special kind of spaces. Here you can see some of the areas where we design the lobbies of the hotel, 6th floor, with the overlook onto the city, the spa that is facing the skylight of the city, and the theater, that we have a regional theater inside the complex. So this kind of approach about mixed use buildings are very interesting for us because we succeeded to combine different activities, and also nowadays we are thinking that the cities should be reconceived as let's say little cities inside the major city, so with a sort of local kind of a community that should organize itself around some special main focus point closer to them, you know, and not concentrate on the vision to the center of the city like Milan or Rome or even Shanghai. We work also on very different kind of things, like this an extreme sports center that is going to be realized in Milano very soon, where you can experience any kind of sport with the assistance of specialists. And again, these are some of the projects that we designed somewhere around in China. Retail is a major point for us, so we work on investigating before giving that, let's say, the final look to a project like this, like windows of a very famous brand around the world. We try to investigate about the material, and so we have a lot of handmade job, you know, that has been done, you know, to achieve the purity and the beauty of the elements that we wanted to display in our exhibition, like here in Bulgaria, or here in the main shop in on the Fifth Avenue in New York, where this ceramic shape that we designed for the windows has been brought to a huge dimension, and like this is another version, you know, and so you can see that. Talking about little objects like a ring, you know, like a pair of earrings, it's becoming the reason of design something that is perceiving at the town scale, you know. So a little object jump to a scale that is the scale of architecture. These are the current exhibitions displayed by Bulgari that we design. Then we are jumping quickly to marine design. So we designed the interior for some yachts. These are some of the pictures of the main deck of a 52 feet long motorboat with interior, where everything is, again, talking of rhythm, transparency, combination of material. Aerospace is a special area for us, you know. We designed some of the lounges for our Alitalia main career around Milano, Rome, where the people that can feel in between one flight and another the beauty of, let's say, of Italian culture and cuisine. Then we are concentrated on design elements like interior of aircrafts, you know, to create a special kind of services. Now, quickly, design. Design is something for us very important. Use of material. Glass is part of our culture. So I invite everybody from China to come to Murano to experiment directly what is the creation through this magic material that brings, you know, to special project like this, you know, that has been designed like water, you know. To achieve a result like this, it takes months of experience and tasting before being able to crystallize the shape, you know. Now we started with a definition that we like a lot, that is quantistic design. So something like something that has to do with the material, but also with something that you cannot define at the beginning of your design process, that creates every time a little variation inside your product. And glass is one of these. So gravity is a lamp that I designed where the shape is not constantly always the same, you know. Here's another experiment about the traditional glass that has been used in a way to create a new shape, you know, like this. And mosaic again. Mosaic is an interesting element because it's recalling our history, you know. Is a material, is an art piece that we developed in Italy since nearly 3,000 years. This is a location where the young guys are building up mosaic. And this mosaic has been used several times from us, you know, to create interior design products and exhibition. You can with mosaic you can do anything you like, and it's a sort of skin of architecture. These are some of the interiors that are combining in mosaic and furniture and fabric. New materials are very important. This is a new kind of resin that we use for manufacturing products that are a combination of new elements, new shape, but again, they need the intervention of the man, directly played, you know, with the quality job that only you can do only by hand, going back to the tradition that is lasting since years, in Italy, working on other materials like stone. So this material that is now completely, let's say, solved with a new technique is recalling all the design and production process. Stone and marble is an area very important for Italy, and here again we are playing with a material that is solid, but playing with it as it is like fabric or like other components, to get something like this, where we have a very strange kind of shower and bathtub, where everything is inside this body design in marble, and the marble components are, let's say, played and made as they were pieces of plastic, so 3D dimension, 2 different curves, very complicated. These are other products like this, where we have the marble that is nearly transparent, like in this kind of basin, and the marble could be engraved by laser to create this sort of texture that can be used, to cover walls and spa. Wood is very traditional for Italy, but we use wood in a different way. These are very strange radiators made by wood, and then we can also talk about textiles. These are a collection of fabric carpets and rugs that has been manufactured, playing with the illusion of having to deal with marble. So these fabric games are giving the perception of marble, but they are soft landscapes. This is a production that we did with the Chinese company, and the idea was to create this illusion of skies and clouds or flowers. And it's very interesting, the work that has been done combining design made in Italy and production in China. I will be quick about furniture, the last few pictures. Lualdi is a very famous company for which we design boiserie and doors. We design the door as a volume, not as a traditional flat surface. And there is a very deep attention on details about the production, about the movement, the sound of it, and everything has been played in a very simple and elegant way. The handles, and then again, Quantistic Design coming back, because we are talking again about glass, how to use glass to create a magic effect like this, that is a chandelier, or this has been winning an award, that is a console and collection of tables for Visionaire, or wood, more traditional elements, for interior design that we realize for work, and you can see the detail of sewing, the detail of combining different materials in this kind of product. I'll go quickly. The last point is technology. This is a production that we realize, has been mentioned to the Compasso d'Oro, and has been the first interactive digital control system for a domotic. And from this, you can by voice, by light, by touching, you can control the full environment of your home. Last product that I want to show is this On Air, that is a system of elevators that is fully responding to the needs of today, where you need to create a very clean space, try to kill all the viruses in the air. So there is a system of ventilation, there is a UV protection, where the people are touching the elements, like a bar, and the system is played in a way that everybody could change the material. So it could be glass or stone or marble or aluminium or even a digital surface. But at the same time, it's very expressive, very flexible, but the main point is very sustainable. Exhibition is the last point, and then I stop boring you. Exhibition for us is very important. This is what we realized in a magnificent space in Venice for the latest Biennale of Architecture and Art. It's an exhibition of solid materials that are giving rhythm, to the space. This is Conversational Stone, the one that I mentioned before to you, that are pieces of marble played like paper sheets flying in the air. And this is a work that I did investigating the use of light inside a specific kind of marble. And this is a stone tornado where I wanted to express my worry about our Earth, our let's say destiny, where even the stone has been distorted by energy, negative energy that could be, cleaning our planet. So we have to save, to do everything that we can do to save the little green that is surviving there. So it's a message for everybody to work all together to achieve the best result to save our planet. Thank you for your attention. I want to stop here, and thank you for listening, and I'm open to any kind of question that you want to put me later on. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, architect Marco Piva, for this lesson. It's been really interesting. And while we wait for questions from the public, if there is any, I would like to point out some points that were really interesting in my opinion. And first of all, seeing all of this variety of works from a big building to small objects is the coherence of the language in everything, through different materials, through different scales of work. And this is one thing that I think is really important for young designers to develop. So how do you develop this coherence in language through different scales of work?
Well, this is something that is, I believe, a very Milanese approach, because the first day I went to the university, I've been attracted by the idea that the designer could design at every possible scale. And I didn't want to lose this approach, so I tried every time to experiment with a different scale of design, but try to give a continuity. So to achieve this, I always try to combine different disciplines. And even now, when we have a design team, I try to put together architects, interior design, somebody that is searching about materials, because I wanted the language should be always the same. And even I believe that there is a lot of design in architecture today. So there are people that are designing components for architecture. So melting these different approach, I think, is a very good way also to go to the direction that I said before, new values, sustainability, efficiency, limit use of energy. So this is really what I like. I like, to achieve in my modesty in my activity. But I want to share this with other let's say, colleagues around the world.
Yes, this is surely very important to have also a vision, to embody a vision in your work, a vision of sustainability, a vision of research, of continuous research. And another thing that I think is really interesting is when planning a building, planning it inside a city as a center among many centers to develop new forms of urban living.
Yes, I believe that everywhere in the world, but even if we talk, to huge cities, the mega city, everybody's trying to find a little smaller area where the community could be, could gather together. Obviously, you can move around, but as much as possible, we need to concentrate this attention, because it means to reduce travels, to reduce, pollution, to know the people living beside you, so this is really important. And I think that Italy could give a great contribution in this, because we have been guided in the last years, to go to the direction that is not really linked to our culture, the direction of a mega shopping center outside the cities, while we can have local, let's say, even good distribution. You can know, the people that is selling you the bread, something that is giving the perception of being part of a community. And if you go in this direction, I think the life is going to be definitely better, and we can do a lot in this direction. Using, again, less energy, keeping everything under control. Everybody will be in love with his own area. This is what I believe should be perceived.
Yes, this is a very Italian way of living, smaller centers and a more human relationship also with people and different small activities in the areas. So thank you very much for all of these points and all of these really interesting themes that you put on the table in this presentation. We have a comment. Yes, from Ning Den. He says, can you explain your normal design approach in terms of urban design? What elements you think will be important for the project in China?
So I'm sorry that I had to fly through, the presentation because there is a short time, to do that. But it would be very interesting to investigate this point because it's strategic. In China, we are being very successful because we start thinking about people first. I mean, what the people they really need in the place that we are designing. I show some pictures, for instance, of Italian project where there is a massive city in the back area of the area where we design, of the plot that we design. And we try to create this round element where the people, they can go around themselves, they can meet, they can find the museum, they can find the cinema, they can find an exhibition space, the school. So we need to create elements that are attractive for their function, and not only because they are super expressive. This is very important. I mean, it is important to deal with architecture, with the shape of architecture, but the main point is to create a fluidity in the scheme of the city, where you can combine different elements without segregating them in a very far distance, between them. I want to bring the things together, And so when I mentioned mixed use, even the city in the town planning should be expressed in that way. So not anymore massive residential and then the school somewhere and then the production. We need to how can I say, to combine, and the combining again, you feel at home even if you are going to work. It's maybe a difficult concept to express. So we need to start from the people, and then on the people we can build up diagrams. On these based on the diagrams, we can allocate the function, the volumes, and then the architecture. I don't know if I answered, but it's a very big issue, that one.
Yes, of course. I think that starting from people is somehow the core of the design process.
I want to add something, Sarah. Nowadays, for instance, in Italy mainly, but I believe all over Europe, we are discovering the value of little towns and little villages. I myself, in the management board of Little Village Association, and there are some beautiful places, where people like to go back living there because you can even work at a distance, you enjoy the nature, you have everything nearby, you can know the people around you. So obviously we cannot use this as a sample for all over, but the concept that is at the base of this kind of spaces is really something that we have to relate to design our new vision of town and specifically of architecture.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much. If there are no other questions, I say goodbye to architect Marco Piva, saying again, thank you very much
for your attention.
Interesting intervention. And many of the themes that were touched during this masterclass were also developed during the project Design Made in Hong Kong that we had the pleasure to develop together with the Italian Cultural Institute of Hong Kong with the curation of Mr. Lawrence. So I'm now saying hello to Francesco Mainardi of Mr.
Hello.
Lawrence. Ciao, Francesco.
Hello, everybody. Ciao.
Who will shortly introduce us to this project, telling us what it was about and how it worked and what are the next steps. Thank you, Francesco.
Thank you for inviting me and invite us to that project. Yes, as you mentioned, it was started with the Italian Culture Institute of Hong Kong and Stefano Fossati. That was, let's say, the spark of this project that involved two countries mainly, or two big cities, Milan and Hong Kong. What we have done during more or less a year of work is to try to build a bridge between these two cities, focusing on two words. One was the language of design that we thought that is the same. We can it's, let's say, there is not a border in the language of design. There are different approach, but not border. So the language of design was one of the element on the table, and the second was to think about the contemporary. And so we started to work with some universities, so some students coming from university in Hong Kong, that from PolyU, from Hong Kong Design Institute, and from Baptist University, reflecting on around, let's say, a theme that was again related with contemporary, that was in certain way proximity, some that the architect Piva was talking about before with this really inspiring presentation of his work. Proximity is something that today it's certainly on the table of a lot of discussion, think tanks and design process. So we wanted to push a little bit the reflection about what means proximity in a really dense town like Hong Kong, but in general, no. Also because with this pandemic situation, we discovered that proximity and density of life. I don't say that it's a problem, but let's say we are looking at it with a different eyes, no, and different feelings. So the two schools were the three schools were reflecting about these themes, in developing three different let's say project. One is super stock, another one is relating about the home. And the proximity in home. Another one is about material and the material life matter. So an investigation about material in a specific ceramic in that way. Then we started to open the bridge with Milan. And so in Milan, we selected three designers, three emerging designers, Italian emerging designers, that were representing in certain way the current scene about design in Italy and in Milan. And so we bring it in that project Federico Peri, that is also one of the speakers today, Sara Ricciardi and Federica Biasi, and we started, we provocated a connection between students and these designers, as first of all as a kind of inspiring, because also they are in certain way not so far away in terms of ages, no. So the designer, the students can see a kind of proximity in that way. And the second was asking to these designers to a little bit guide the process of giving some example or giving some tips, and between the tutor and the professor of this university. So we built a kind of team that worked and reflected in these around these elements, and finally we arrived to build an exhibition display this. So we made an exhibition in the Art Center of Hong Kong last March, and during this exhibition we showed the result of the investigation made by the three universities, and the work, a representation of the work made by the three designers. And as the third element in this, let's say, balance, we added a little selection of pieces, of masterpieces made by the masters of the Italian design, especially around 80s. That was another moment of experimentation, as well as the moment of experimentation that we are living now. And so during this exhibition, we showed these three elements that in some way was representing the picture of the project. And the next step will be, as Sarah mentioned before, Milan during the next design week, where we leave the management and the realization to Cinque Vie, that is, let's say, another of the spark of this project that involved us with Stefano Fossati and Italian Culture Institute to that project, and was leading a little bit also the communication and the webinars and all the public output or outcome that was generated with this project was thanks to Cinque Vie, as well as today. So I would like to say thank you to all the people involved, from Hong Kong, from Milan, from our team, to Cinque Vie, to the Institute, the Italian Culture Institute, and to the schools, to the amazing work that we have done. And we are really happy and to be part of this project.
Thank you to you, Francesco, and also to Annalisa, that is Annalisa Rosso, the other partner of Mr. Lawrence. They curated all of the contents.
Yeah, Annalisa
and also
was not possible to stay here this morning, but she want to also say thank you and hello to everybody.
And we also send a big greeting to Annalisa. So thank you, Francesco, for introducing the project.
Welcome.
We are now diving a little deeper, seeing the experience of two of the schools that were involved, and the designer Federico Peri that followed one of the projects developed by one of these schools. So I'm now going to introduce you Daniel Chan from the Hong Kong Design Institute. And together with his working group, they worked on the theme of domestic living, and the theme was home. And together with designer Federico Peri. I think that in this particular context, talking about the domestic living, we had to face a real cultural bridge, because our way of living in Italy showed to be a little bit different from the way you live your house in Hong Kong. So I think it was really interesting to see how the projects were carried out, and how from both sides we were somehow enriched. So if you want to explain us something about all of the projects that you developed with your students, I'll leave it up to you. So thank you, Chan.
Thank you. So actually, this time we are working on the topic home, and actually under the pandemic, we all face similar issues, not just in Hong Kong, but Italy, all around the world. However, there's also some uniqueness in Hong Kong when we are using our home during the class suspension period or work from home. So maybe I can share some of the images to you. Okay. Sorry, hold on a second. Should be, oops, not this one, sorry. Should be the PowerPoint. There's some technical issue. Maybe I show my screen first. Okay, so can you see the screen? Yes, so this is our school at Cheung Kwan O, New Territories, Hong Kong. Actually, before the projects, actually is an extension of a project that we did in the year 2019. We also participated in the Milan Design Week. That time, our students worked on project called Co-Senior Plus in that year, which means co-living between generations. We have 3 sub-themes under that time. We have co-caring, which we're featuring product design for everyone in the family. The second sub-theme is co-living, that for products for elderly to use independently. And the third sub-theme is co-harmony, that for elderly to get closer to the family members in different generations. And the works were exhibited as Salon Satellite in that year. And also the booth design itself is also designed by our students. So it's the second time we work on projects related to family and home issues. And this time we have a different name, called it Home. And we also divided the projects into 3 sub-themes. The first one is co-living, which means nowadays when we work from home, actually not just with family members, but like the younger generations, they rent a flat with schoolmates or colleagues. So they are co-living in the same flats. And so we have designed a table like this. Actually, you see the shape is quite strange. Actually, all the units are you can sliding to and fro, and to make a different layouts and composition depending on your the function and usage of the table. So if you're working with the laptops, need 3 piece of wood, so you can slide that towards yourself and make your working area dividable to the others. So this is a very interesting and actually these projects, not just our product design students are involved, but also our advertising design students were involved. I can share an outcome of these products to you. This is actually a TV advertisement designed by our advertising students. So I think it's a multidisciplinary collaboration in this project as well. So that's how it works. So you can create different layout and composition with this table. So to facilitate co-working. So, and also these 2-seaters also with different layouts for couples. So the second theme in this project is work from home and study from home. We have like a table with special partitions to split the table into half, so different functions can be performed. And also this launch, like a launch chair. Actually, this footrest can be flip over to make it a small compartment you can enclose, hiding yourself in a quiet place. And also the last one is interesting because nowadays when we work from home, we have to use lots of Zoom and Microsoft Teams for video conferencing. And actually this is a screen to act like a virtual background, but function much better, because virtual background, there are lots of functionalities issues. Like sometimes something suddenly appears at your background, or when you want to demonstrate something, you cannot really show the object in front of your clients. But using a real a backdrop like this, actually this backdrop is using a magnet to stick to the back of the sofa. You can slide it to anywhere of the back. So I think the most valuable part in this project is to allow our students to rethink the core issues when we are designing a product or a furniture, because that makes the whole design solution make sense. So the last sub-theme is about intergenerations, that actually this sofa with different layouts, that the families can have different seating composition with their grandpa, grandma, and also the last chair with a very special mechanism to help the elderly to lift their body up when they want to stand from the sofa. Actually, it's very difficult when using an ordinary one, but this one with a very special mechanism to lift their body up easily. So I think that show you some of the interesting ideas that our students develop and going to demonstrate in the forthcoming Milan Design Week. So that's all for my sharing. See if you have any questions.
Yes, if anybody has any questions, you still can write it in the live chat. We will share it with the speakers. And yes, as Marco Piva said before, the team is always starting from people and from their needs to develop projects that make sense. And
Yes.
I guess that this is one of the cores of these projects that you showed us.
Yeah, because many people have a wrong perception that product design or furniture design is just making something look good. But actually, the core value of it is we are trying to address the main issues behind, like the main problems. Actually, I like to say all the best design start from a good problem.
Yes, design is an answer to a problem, and you must know what problem you're answering to.
Yes. So actually, the pandemic allow us to reinvestigate or rethink some very basic issues in family.
Yes, and I am also adding to our panel Federico Peri. Ciao Federico. Hello. And welcome. Thank you for being with us today. And you developed this project, you followed the evolution of this project made by the students together with the Hong Kong Design Institute. So if you would like to share something of your experience and how you think that your work somehow helps the students develop their own language and their own projects.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so thanks for having me. And I mean, the collaboration was divided in 3 different moments. In the beginning, it started from last year. In the beginning, I was asked to introduce a presentation of my portfolio, of my project, and to explain some way how I also talk with the brand, the design galleries, or the client. Then the second step was to show them a kind of path and inspiration who surround my work. So since the beginning, as they are students, and I've been students 15 years ago, more or less, and something more. So they are closer to my experience, and I show them my path, my inspiration, and how my work starts from the university and then came to nowadays. And then the third meeting was for me the most interesting one, because I saw the result of the project of the students, and the topic was really interesting, because as the pandemic changed a little bit the way not a little bit, changed a lot the way how we live our homes, and especially in Hong Kong in general, places and apartments are really small, so they were asked to solve the problem about the collaboration, the co-living together into the same place. So there were some example of the typical family that were composed by mother, father, and 2 sons, and maybe also the grandmother, how together they can live and use the apartment in the same way, with the singular privacy that everyone deserves. And it was really interesting to see all the result of the project. I remember the one who Daniel just showed to us, for example, a sofa, who were also a kind of chaise longue and also a room divider. So who really answer to the question of the co-living space. Or for example, also a table who has the top that was turn up the top, so it act a little bit as a room divider as well. So one can eat, for example, and the other one can work at the same time without disturbing each other. So the experience was really interesting. I also see that there is not so much difference between the East and West, talking about design. Yeah, the approach could be different, because it's also about a different way to live, but the result is quite similar. So now we are going global much more than the past, and then you can really see the result of this globalization even in the design. So it was really an interesting collaboration and an interesting experience, and I'm also satisfied about the result of the project.
Yes, I think that we are all very satisfied because I also saw the development of this project from the concept to the final results, and I think that the students were really able to develop their own language to, as we said before, to answer to a problem. And this pandemic put us in front of very new problems and very strong problems. So thank you all for being with us today and for sharing your experience of collaboration of this bridge that we managed to create from Italy to Hong Kong through design that is, as Francesco said before, a language that we all can learn to speak from Italy or from Hong Kong to answer human problems in human living. So thank you, Federico, and thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am now introducing another university, in particular, Caroline Du.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Caroline from PolyU. You worked with your work group together with designer Federico Biasi on the theme of super stack. So the theme of stacking things and the theme of living inside restricted spaces, developing new forms of managing the space.
Yeah, it is.
So if you also want to tell us something about the projects developed by your students, you have a presentation. Yes, here it is.
Yeah. Thanks, Sarah. Let's share me. Can you see my screen? Yeah, I think you can. Yeah, our topic is super stack, the superimposed home activities in a high density city. And in the Design Made in Hong Kong project, our students critically reflected upon the post-pandemic family interactions, as Mr. Daniel Chen mentioned before, and they explored what and how a design thinker may tackle our potential future. Because as we know that Hong Kong has very tiny rooms, and this work attempts to provoke the discussion about people, cohabitation, spatial and product experience among the family members in high-density apartments suffering from social distancing, especially now, after the pandemic. And including but not limited to how the designers anticipate the new norm of the superimposed user patterns at home through the lens of furniture design. In the case studies, students identified the contradictory and conflicting phenomenon by studying various types of home living scenarios. As a picture shown that was shown by our students, they are very extreme case studies, and they are showing where people living in a congested interior environment, the positive and negative, tangible and intangible interactions are being stacked up together at home in a single day. So, and in this process, the whole project's first step, we like them to explore the materials. Because for students, for them, they explored the modular joints for furniture design with the application of sustainable material, engineered bamboo. And we also have a sponsored company, that is a bamboo company. So they got a good opportunity to show that. We also show that in our show, and it was very interesting process for them to know craftsmanship and to know the typology of the material and also the furniture. And after that, they carried out in-depth scenario studies. I think the picture shown, you can find that the students use different colors to highlight the activities that were done by family members. And we can see a lot of time slots were overlapped and stacked up together. It's very good experience for them. They are also very excited when they find this kind of results. And also they study in-depth scenario studies in other case studies. This is another one that investigates 6 family members, and also another one is talking about segregated connectedness. And lastly, after all of the discussions, the identified insights and prototyped the concept, elaborate their evaluation scenarios and functional requirements. This was a stability and is also a field gap design for among the projects that was also shown in the Milan Hong Kong design. And the design strategy they incorporate with some of all of the projects. And the topic is about privacy, so resolution, fluidity, and so on. These are the pictures about our projects. I didn't show more details about that. I hope all of you can join the exhibition in Milan in the coming September. So thank you. Looking forward to the Milan Design Week in September. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. We're looking forward to one thing that I think that emerged from the project of your university is also this contamination between languages. There is also a certain attention to Hong Kong language, I think.
Yeah. We also appreciate the help that from Federico and also the Italian Culture Institute. They gave us 2 webinars to help our students to develop their concepts. Yeah.
So they turned out very, very personal, very characteristic, I think. So thank you, Caroline, for showing us the project of your group, and we're looking forward to seeing you and your project in Milan in September. We're going to close this meeting, this super interesting webinar, and I'm introducing now Emanuele Tessarolo, President of the Association Networking Milano Giovani, 5 Vie, for the final greeting. So.
Good morning and good afternoon to everybody. Thanks to having been here for this morning, for this meeting with all the participants to the Design Made in Hong Kong project. I want to thank the people that were participating, starting from General Consul of Italy, Clemente Contestabile, architect Marco Piva, the Hong Kong Design Institute with Daniel Chan, the designer Federico Peri, Caroline Du, and from PolyU School of Design, and Francesco Mainardi and Lisa Rosso of Miss Florence that curated all the project. A big thanks goes also to Stefano Fossati, the director of the Italian Cultural Institute of Hong Kong, that wanted this project. I invite all of you now to come and visit us physically or digitally, starting from the 4th of September here in Milan for the Design Week, because Design Made in Hong Kong is going to be a show in here. And so we really hope you want to discover what you could see. Thanks a lot to everybody again, and have a good day.